All right, thanks, Timsy, for joining us. Let's shift focus to the auto sector now. Electric scooter maker Ather Energy has launched a new factory to boost production capacity from 1.2 lakh to 4.2 lakh vehicles per annum. The company says electric two-wheeler penetration will reach 25% by the end of FY23, and the company is working towards a zero-subsidy scenario starting 2024. Danish Anand visited the company's new factory in Hosur and got us this special report.
Hero Motor-backed Ather Energy today has inaugurated its second manufacturing facility in the Hosur district of Tamil Nadu, and we are currently present right there. And as you can see behind me, it's a very huge facility. And after this inauguration, the overall production capacity of Ather Energy has risen from 1.20 lakh scooters per annum to 4,20,000 scooters per annum. And this facility will cater to initially two different kinds of scooters, that is the Ather 450X and the Ather 450 Plus. What is the overall manufacturing capability that you will have after the new inauguration? And talking about this particular facility, how many more scooters can this produce, and what is the expandable numbers?
So our first factory, that capacity was about 1,20,000 units annually. With the introduction of this one, from a vehicle perspective, that number goes up to 4,20,000. So from 1,20,000 to 4,20,000. That's the vehicle capacity. The battery capacity is slightly higher because we also have to cater to aftermarket and spares and all that. So that capacity was 4,30,000.
So talking about the current sales, what is the outlook for the rest of the financial year? And talking about FY24, how much jump in sales are you expecting?
So the market is going really fast. I think the market is growing faster than any one of us anticipated. We've been in business for many years. This is a primary business. It's the only business we have. We have every reason to be optimistic. And even we were taken aback by the growth that we are seeing right now. So if I look at the last month's numbers, the e-scooter penetration is about, I think, 16-17%. So we already have a situation where about 16-17% people are buying e-scooters. I expect that number to go to about 20-25% by end of this financial year. And if you hit that number, then we're looking at 1 in 4 people buying scooters, buying electric scooters. That pace of growth after that is just a hockey stick after that, right? So we see this growing really dramatically over the next few months.
Right. So we're talking about the whole government scenario right now. We have seen that the government is supposed to come out with certain guidelines for battery as well as for EV manufacturing. So how poised are you as far as your company is concerned? How ready are you? And do you really think that it will be an easy transition for Ather?
See, we've been in conversation with the government for the longest time, in a consultative capacity to collaborate with them to help arrive at these guidelines, right? Obviously, the government spoke to a variety of people, a variety of stakeholders. So what is coming now actually is no surprise, right? It's something that we've been actually actively pushing for because we believe battery safety, vehicle safety is a very active choice the OEM needs to make very early on in life, right? So it's not something you take lightly. And even though these are more stringent requirements than have they been in the past, we are sort of much beyond them. Like if I give you a reference point, like today, we need about, to comply with about 9 guidelines to be compliant from a battery perspective. Against that 9, we have 200 tests, right? So that's the difference we're looking at. Our belief is that while regulation needs to go up, but as a responsible OEM, you have to be ahead of regulation, not just comply. And we are fully there in terms of our readiness for the change.
So now talking about the whole EV industry as a whole, we are seeing that the EV industry, especially the two-wheeler industry, is kind of plagued by the recent dispersal of FAME scheme is concerned. So talking about that, are you getting the disbursement from the government? And once this disbursement stops, do you think that the real EV demand will generate in India?
So yes, we are getting, because we are compliant with the FAME requirements, FAME 2 requirements, so we are getting our disbursement, so there is no problem there, right? From a point of view of long term, when FAME 2 and other subsidies sort of go away, see, the industry factors that scenario in our long term planning, right? When we look at our long term plan, we don't assume subsidy is going to be there forever, right? We believe the subsidy, right now the time frame for FAME 2 is March 2024. Whether it gets taken off completely immediately or taper off, honestly we don't know. We hope it tapers off gradually, but we don't expect it to last forever, which means our business plans need to be based on a foundation that does not assume subsidy. And that's what we do. So our cost structures, our growth plans are all based on zero subsidy expectations in the medium term.
Right. Sir, what are your future plans? We are seeing that the many new companies that are getting into electric motorcycles. So do you plan to launch an electric motorcycle? And talking about like a really futuristic perspective, will we ever see Ather Energy getting into electric four-wheelers?
Long term, who's seen, but I can just tell you about the foreseeable future that we know that we are sort of embarking upon. The next couple of years, 2 years, 2.5 years, I think we'll invest all our energies in consolidating the scooter market. That's where we have the lead. That's where we have the expertise, the strength, and also a strong position already, right? So we're going to consolidate that. In a 3 to 5 year time horizon, we expect to launch a motorbike as well, for sure, right? Right now, it's early days. We are planning. We have some early ideas on which segment, which price point. Too early to talk about specifics, but definitely we have it that we have that on the roadmap.
So very lastly, we are seeing the entire EV market is getting a lot of crowded, and talking about Hero Moto, it's one of your investors, and they have recently tied up with Gogoro as well, and Gogoro is also expected to come out as a standalone brand in the country. So do you see a synergy, or do you see this as a challenge, and will we ever see a co-branded scooter or a cross-badging kind of an arrangement between Ather and Gogoro?
See, Hero MotoCorp has been an investor since 2015, right? So it's not like a new phenomenon. And since the very beginning, both us and Hero MotoCorp have been very clear that we are independent businesses, right? So we do not collaborate. Like, we don't have technology transfer, we don't technology sharing, we don't share supply chain. Like, if the common supplier, it's a coincidence more than a strategy. We have different distribution, different brand, different marketing. Essentially, they are different companies, right? We converge at a board level because they are a large and very valued investor. They are obviously there on the board. But we work independently. For us, Gogoro will come in as competition, like any other competition. So, yeah.
I'm surrounded by at least 2,000 ready to be dispatched Ather 450 Plus and 450X scooters, which are ready to be shipped across dealerships around the country. But the buck doesn't stop here, as Ather has very big plans and has big ambitions for the future, because this initial facility will cater to just 2 kinds of scooters. But as the company grows and as new scooter models are introduced by Ather, all of them will be manufactured here, and it is very likely that whenever the company gets into the electric motorcycle segment, that will also be manufactured here. With video journalist Uday Patra, this is Danish Anand for CNBC-TV18.
All right.